Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, Caring Connections with Faith. I am the Faith in that title, and I am here today. We're gonna do a recording of what would have been my live stream for tomorrow. And just to give you a bit of backstory, I am a normal, regular, everyday human being, just like all of you. I have been through hell and back in lots and lots of areas of my life. Physical stuff, mental stuff, emotional stuff, lots and lots of abuse. Yep. And so because of all of that, I feel that I have something to give and a deep understanding of what others might be going through in times of hardship and distress and emotional overload, etc., etc. And so I'm hoping to build a community here on YouTube where we are here for each other and we show up whether we're hurting, whether we're having a great day, and we just be here for each other. So that's the whole point of what we're doing here. And as you can see, I'm at the beach for this video, and it's very fitting. I just did my short for today. We're getting a little tiny bit of rain, just the tail end of the system that just moved through. I did my short a few minutes ago from way back there behind me out in the building because a storm was coming through, like crazy storm, but it has since come through. I had to go to the car for a little bit because the storm was pretty bad. And in that moment I talked about how right now my life feels very much exactly like that storm. Like I am literally holding on by my fingernails while the wind whips and tries to blow me right out from my life. And this is proof, like I just had to hunker down and find shelter in that moment. And lo and behold, the storm has passed, and here I am out at the beach, being in a place of rest. We are still getting a little bit of water, some sprinkles here, so we'll see if I can keep my computer protected or not. I have my phone, and then I use my computer here for notes and stuff, so I might have to cover it up or something. I'm not sure yet. I'll just try and see if I can make some sort of backup plan here in case it gets really bad. Let's see here, if I have a sitting on a tarp. If I just put the tarp over top of the computer, then maybe I can still see what I wrote and I can continue on here with the video. All right, so today we are going to talk about forgiveness. It's something that I have been wrestling with personally. I think it's, again, I try to talk about stuff that is relevant in my life and that I think is probably pretty relevant in a lot of other people's lives at the same time, so that this can be helpful and you understand that I am just an average human being like you, trying to do life the best that I know how. So this topic of forgiveness came up because something came up the other day, and I'm also working through a lot of rage, which is not like me at all. And so we're going to probably talk about rage next week, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so the whole idea of forgiveness came up because I had something pop up in my mind about my ex-partner who chose to walk away from our relationship that we were building, that I thought we were building something that was going to lead to marriage. I thought that's what we were working towards, but obviously that wasn't the case on his part. So it is what it is. But something came up, and I realized that just as I was approaching a really hard time in my life, knowing that the situation that my daughter was in was going to require a lot of me. It was going to require me to really step up and be something for her that I didn't even know if I had the strength and the energy to be. definitely on my own strength. I really don't think I do have the energy, but I choose to throw myself on God's mercy and trust Him to help carry me through a lot of these times. The stress of the situation we're going through right now is immense, and my heart is not real happy with me at the moment because of the stress I'm putting it under, and the lack of sleep that I'm trying to survive on, and all of those things are not really great for my health. And you know, when you're a mom, you just throw yourself into whatever has to be for your kids. And so that's what we're doing right now, and hoping that we're working towards some things in our life that will make life a little easier. And hopefully we'll know that in the next 3 weeks or so. So I'll keep you posted on that. But right now, you know, the long and the short of it is that life is just plain old hard. And sometimes I just have to keep showing up, whether I feel like it or not, and adult, and be her mom, and be loving and kind no matter what. So when I was thinking about all this, and I was like, man, you know, my partner knew that this was coming, and my partner had promised, you know, through thick and thin, and promised to show up for me, and promised to be someone I could count on, and then right in the middle of this chose to walk away, knowing hard times were coming. And it brought back to mind something that happened over a year ago when we were on vacation in Canada. And it was a moment, a day, when I really, really, really needed them to show up. And that day, the expectations were clear, and choices were made on their part to not show up. And then choices were also made to be defensive and angry with me when I was hurt and disappointed and all of those things. So I have worked hard, I think, to work through that. And I really want to be a person of forgiveness. And growing up the way I grew up, in a deeply faith-based community, I learned a lot of things about forgiveness. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure a lot of them hold true for me. I get that, you know, what the church believes. I understand that completely. And I think that some things are true for me about forgiveness that might be different than what I was taught growing up. And that's okay, I think. I think becoming a mature individual means that you take a look at those things and you are constantly willing to reevaluate and find truth for yourself rather than what's been fed to you your whole life. So I guess what I understood growing up was that forgiveness meant you wipe the slate clean, you don't mention anything about it anymore, and you basically just treat it like it never happened. And growing up, I didn't really know what to do with that, because there were lots of moments of hurt and real abuse that I just basically felt like I had to swallow and pretend like it didn't happen, when the pain was real and the devastation I felt was real, and I didn't have tools to deal with that, right? I just had to shove it under the rug and move on. And that was what forgiveness was framed like to me growing up. And I don't believe that anymore. I don't find that to be true anymore. And I think that it's possible to have forgiveness and, you know, it look very different than I was raised to believe. I'm going to pause just for 1 second here because my computer is wigging out and I can't see my notes. So just give me 1 second. Okay, got that fixed. So I want to talk about what forgiveness looks like for me today. And I would love it, love it, love it if you would chime in and let me know what forgiveness looks like for you and how that plays out in your everyday life. When those feelings came back up, to the tune of he abandoned me again kind of feelings, I was like, well, I wonder if I didn't really forgive him fully. And I really had to do some research, and I had to really look at myself and be like, okay, so what is forgiveness exactly, so that I have a clear net to shoot my soccer ball into, to know that I can check that box off, or I can't, or I'm not quite there yet. Okay, so here is what I wrote down. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as simply forgetting or wiping the slate completely clean. But true forgiveness in a relationship, whether that be a partner, whether that be a parent-child, whether that be a friend, I believe it's the same all across the board. True forgiveness is a structured and intentional boundary. Okay? So we're going to do 3 things here. We're going to look at first 3 different things. So we're going to do a forgiveness isn't and a forgiveness is for each of these 3 points. So the first one is forgiveness is releasing the desire to punish. Okay? So forgiveness does not mean that I erase the history of what happened. That's not forgiveness. Releasing the urge to inflict retaliatory pain or even the score stops us from allowing ourselves that vengeance, right? In the Bible, it says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So that he will repay, and I don't have to worry about that. So it doesn't, when we forgive, that releases me from the wanting to harm someone because of what they did to me. It does not, hear me clearly, it does not mean that the hurt and the pain that you experienced is getting swept under the rug, that it didn't happen, that you should wipe your memory of it. I don't believe that anymore. That does not hold true for me anymore. What happened absolutely happened. It is your truth. It is a part of your story. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be grown from, I believe. You need to find peace with that for your own self. So that leads us to the second point here, that forgiveness is an internal release for your own peace. Unforgiveness, it's been said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping the person on the other side dies. It never works like that. It never works well. Unforgiveness only ends up hurting ourselves more. And so forgiveness is that release and us being able to find peace because we're not holding tight to that vengeance piece. And instead, we're able to let that desire go, which brings peace, right? So hear me, that forgiveness is that internal release, but it is not, never, ever, ever, ever should it be, an automatic run right back to the same old situation and let it happen again. Sorry, everybody, you can have a differing opinion on this. The church has a very differing opinion of this. And I'm going to say that you don't have to reconcile necessarily. You don't have to trust someone again. That is not what forgiveness is all about. Forgiveness is choosing, like I said before, choosing not to take revenge on someone and finding the peace in yourself. So you can grant forgiveness entirely within yourself to free your own mind from the resentment. without offering immediate access back into your life. It doesn't mean that you hold your heart back out there and say, yeah, trample on, buddy. Right? That is not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness means you did something, and technically I am owed something because of the hurt and the pain that you caused. And I'm going to choose to not make you pay that, what you owe me. But that doesn't mean you get back access to my heart the way you had it before. Because that wouldn't even be healthy, necessarily, right? Depending on the situation. Okay, so that was point number 2. Let's do point number 3 really fast. I'm getting sprinkled on more and more here by the second. And because I'm now wrapped up in the tarp to protect my computer, I'm getting more and more hot by the second too. So let's do number 3 real quick. This is kind of like number 2, but it's a tiny bit different. Forgiveness is a gift of peace to yourself while you choose to rebuild trust through consistent, changed behavior. Forgiveness is setting clear boundaries that are healthy. It is not excusing behavior. It is not minimizing your pain. It is not minimizing damage that has been done as a result of actions or behavior. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that everything is fine. It does not mean lowering your standards. True forgiveness acknowledges the real severity of the wrong and says, you know what you did, your behavior and your actions spoke a language to me that was so hurtful and so painful and caused real damage like a hurricane. And we need to rebuild now because something has been destroyed in me. And so real forgiveness looks like having the self-respect to say, you know what, that really hurt. I'm not going to hold something and make you pay for what you did. But I am going to expect you to do the right thing on your own because you want to mend this relationship, because it's important to you. And if you're not able, for whatever reason, to do what must be true for me to make our relationship healthy again, then that means that I'm going to have to set a boundary where you don't have access to my heart. I'm going to allow you the opportunity to rebuild what was destroyed. And if that's not possible because you choose or you make choices, then that's going to affect the foundation of what we're building, right? It's just the way it is. So those are my 3 points. Basically, forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself. It's to keep yourself from constantly drinking that poison and hoping the other person is going to get sick and die. It's a release valve for yourself so that you're not being filled up with that resentment and the rage and the anger that goes with being hurt. And that's, something else that I'm gonna talk about, like I said, next week, because, this is the third major relationship, 2 marriages, and then this relationship that was literally on its way to marriage. Like I had my other marriages annulled so that we would be able to be married. Like I jumped through a lot of hoops because the expectation was, and the discussion was, that we're building something here that is going to lead to permanency and to marriage. So that's 3 men that have chosen, for whatever reasons, their own selfishness over my needs in the moment. And I feel a lot of anger about that. I feel a lot of things about that. But I don't want to hold unforgiveness in my heart because it just hurts me. So we're going to talk about the rage thing and the anger thing another day. But for today, we're just talking about forgiveness. So forgiveness means that I no longer am holding on to the right to make you pay for what you did. That doesn't mean that I forget. It doesn't mean that I just run right back and I trust you wholeheartedly again. There was damage there. A hurricane came through and destroyed the foundation of what you were building together, whether that's a friend, whether that's a parent, whether that's a child, whether that's a spouse. Damage occurred. Your foundation has been waylaid and it needs to be rebuilt. And that's going to take time, right? So that's my thoughts on forgiveness. I would really, really love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you'll leave a comment and you'll let me know what you're thinking about it and how you're feeling about forgiveness today. But it was definitely a relief when that thought popped up about actions that were over a year ago. And I was like, oh, maybe I haven't really forgiven them, because the thoughts popped back up. And I was like, oh yeah, here we go again. And what I learned was that those thoughts popping up didn't mean that I was not forgiving a person. It meant that my body was doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's seeing a pattern of behavior that says, wow, that person doesn't have the tools to build a strong foundation. And you probably shouldn't be working to build a foundation there because it's not stable. It's like building on the sand. And that's another part of the Bible. See, the sand is not stable, even though it looks nice and firm here. I mean, it's not stable at all. And the Bible talks about that. You don't want to build your foundation on the sand that can just get washed away. You want to build it on a rock that's firm and that's going to last forever and stand the test of time. So those are my thoughts for today. We've withstood the storm. We've made it. A few sprinkles. It was such a good analogy to be in the midst of that storm, because I wake up in the morning so tired and really unable to even function hardly. And I just kind of feel like I go on autopilot. And then to have watched that storm come through and watch myself, like a movie, watch myself go through it and get through it and come to this other side and be here with you all and have something real and tangible to offer to someone else is really, really amazing. And it's a gift to me. Anyway, the phone's overheating. I gotta go. Okay, so I was able to cool the phone down enough to say goodbye to you all. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with me today. And again, if you would love to share your thoughts, I would love to hear them. If you like the content, if you could send me a thumbs up, that would be helpful for me. And if you know someone else that could benefit from these thoughts on forgiveness, if you wouldn't mind passing the show along to the video along to someone else, and maybe get some friends to subscribe to the channel. When we get to 50 subscribers, I'll be able to use the YouTube app and shoot right from YouTube, which is gonna make a big difference and solve a lot of my problems with the phone overheating. And so if you could help me with that, that would be a huge gift to me. So thanks so much for watching. Lots and lots of love, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.